Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Let's start the class. We have seen Unit 3 up to some portion we have already completed. Okay, many days has already gone in these things. So, Unit 1 is regarding the which can be looked as a microbiology. Then, in the present study, you will learn about virus, bacteria, fungi, algae, etc. Part 1, Part A of this microbiotechnology is diversity of microorganisms. Okay, there are two domains. Largely, there are two domains of microorganisms. One is eukaryotes and the other one is prokaryotes. Then, what are those eukaryotes and prokaryotes, and what are the differences between them? We have and characteristics and biotechnology applications of protozoa, algae, fungi, bacteria, and viruses. Okay, these five types of microorganisms like protozoa, algae, fungi, bacteria, and microorganisms. We have to see their what are their general characteristics, how they will behave. Okay, what are their sizes? Okay, what are the various applications for this one? And this is part A. Let us begin the part A. What is the definition of what is microorganism and what is microbiology? Okay, microorganism is nothing but in a general form we can call it as a microbe. It's a microscopic organisms which may exist in its single cell form or in a colony of form. Okay, it can be as a single microbe or it may be existed in a colony of various forms of different cells. Okay, so those the definition of microorganisms are simply a microbe. Then there are two types of microorganisms. One is the prokaryotes and other one is the eukaryotes. Okay, largely it was believed that it is prokaryotes are the first microorganisms which are existing in this universe. Okay, then what are the prokaryotes? Prokaryotes are nothing but the unicellular organisms. The lacks a membrane-bound nucleus. It does not have a membrane-bound nucleus or mitochondria or any organella. It cannot have. Okay, whereas on the other part, eukaryotes we have a nucleus, mitochondria or a organella they will have. Okay, there are two types of prokaryotes are there. One is a archaea and next one is a bacteria. Okay, these are the subdivisions for the prokaryotes. And then what are the eukaryotes? Eukaryotes compared to prokaryotes, eukaryotes are larger in size because they have a nucleus inside it. Eukaryotes are organisms whose cells have a nucleus enclosed within a membrane. So this will contain a nucleus, whereas prokaryote does not contain any nucleus. Almost every organisms which we are seeing around the world with a naked eye is nothing but a eukaryote. Along with some of the microorganisms are there, we can access them through the microscope only. There also comes under the category of eukaryotes. Okay, all protists. The examples for the eukaryotes are all protists, fungi, plants, animals are examples of eukaryotes. Then, by classifying all these eukaryotes and prokaryotes, we can say that the study of microorganisms is nothing but a microbiology. The branch of study or a field of study of microorganisms is called microbiology. Then what are the major differences? What are the major distinction between these prokaryotes and eukaryotes? Okay, let's see. Already we defined as per the prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes does not contain any membrane, whereas eukaryotes contain membrane. Eukaryotes contain nucleus, whereas prokaryotes doesn't contain any nucleus. Okay, the first classification, distinction between the prokaryotes and eukaryotes are having a nucleus, whereas nucleus is absent in the prokaryotes. Then number of chromosomes will be more than one in the eukaryotes, whereas it is limited to one. That too, it is called as a plasmid chromosome. So prokaryotes will have a only one chromosome, but that too it is classified as a plasmids, whereas in the eukaryotes more than one chromosome will be involved. Then the cell type in the eukaryotes are usually multicellular. Okay, the cell types are nothing but the eukaryotes are nothing but a multicellular, whereas prokaryotes are nothing but a unicellular. So they are usually unicellular prokaryotes, whereas eukaryotes are multicellular. Then membrane bound nucleus. Okay, nucleus is absent here, so membrane bound nucleus is absent in the prokaryotes, whereas it is present in the eukaryotes. Then examples, already said the examples of the eukaryotes are plants, animals, fungi, protists, etc. Whereas for the prokaryotes, there are two examples. One is archaea and then bacteria. Then genetic recombination is possible in both types of these microorganisms. So whereas in the eukaryotes, the meiosis and fusion of gametes will be the main reproduction mechanism or a genetic combination mechanism. Whereas in the prokaryotes, the partial or unidirectional transfer of DNA is the main mechanism, genetic recombination mechanism in the prokaryotes. Then microtubules will be present in the eukaryotes, but microtubules will be absent in the prokaryotes. Then lysosomes and peroxisomes. Okay, these lysosomes or peroxisomes are present in the eukaryotes, whereas they are absent in the prokaryotes. Then endoplasmic reticulum will be present in the eukaryotes, but it is absent in the prokaryotes. Okay, endoplasmic reticulum, we can say microtubules or lysosomes or peroxisomes or everything are present in the eukaryotes, but they are absent in the prokaryotes. Then mitochondria. So as per the definition also, mitochondria is absent in the prokaryotes, whereas eukaryotes mitochondria is present. Then cytoskeleton will be present in the one skeleton-like structure will be present in the eukaryotes, whereas the skeleton-like structure is absent. That is nothing but a cytoskeleton, we would say. Skeleton is absent in the prokaryotes, whereas cytoskeleton will be present in the eukaryotes. Then ribosomes will be very large in the eukaryotes, whereas ribosomes will be very small in the prokaryotes. Okay, permeability of nuclear membrane. Okay, the permeability through its nuclear membrane is present in the eukaryotes. Okay, though it is selective, uh, it may be present in the eukaryotes, but it is completely absent in the prokaryotes. Then cell size. Here comes a major distinction is the cell size. Okay, here examples you can see all protists, fungi, plants and animals. Plants and animals, you see, these are very big sizes compared to the bacteria and archaea. So by looking at this only, we can say that eukaryotes are larger in size compared to the prokaryotes. So usually as per the classification, the prokaryotes will be in the range of 1 to 10 micrometer, whereas the eukaryotes will be in the range of more than 10. Okay, 10 to 100, we can say more than 100, we can also say. Okay, micrometer, it will have these sizes. So these are the major distinction between the eukaryotes and prokaryotes. Then the branch of study of these eukaryotes and prokaryotes are together, we can call it as a microorganism, is called a microbiology. Okay, this is all about the microbiology and definitions and the distinction between prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Okay, as we all know, the microorganisms can be found. Okay, can be found in soil, mud, water, air, animals, plants, in our gut. Food products, dead wood, optical instruments, in everywhere the microorganisms are constant, everywhere they are present. So how they are influencing the mankind, we have to study them, how they are, whether they are causing the diseases in the mankind or human being, or whether they are human being or plants. Okay, plants also can get a disease, can catch a disease. So we have to study whether they are harmful, whether they are useful to produce any type of any secondary products. So we have to verify that. So they can be found in many types: soils, mud, water, instruments, dead woods, animals, plants. So we have to extract them, nothing but isolation. Okay, then we have to culture them, nothing but fertility. We have to increase their numbers. Then we can use them in the some useful product manufacturing. So in order to, so there are many applications for the microorganisms. So we all know the dairy product. The popular dairy products are curd, cheese, yogurt. We can say these products can be produced only to the bacteria only. In our household, we used to make a curd by just to it, because we are lacking of the bacteria which are required to produce the curd. Just adding our already existing curd into our boiled and cooled milk. Okay, so the bacteria which is useful in the curd manufacturing is the lactobacillus, we can say. So lactobacillus is popularly used to produce curd. Then the next dairy product we can say is yogurt. Yogurt can be synthesized using lactobacillus only, lactobacillus, but some other types of lactobacillus. Various types of lactobacillus strains will be there. Among them, the different products like streptococcus, thermopilus, etc. These are used to synthesize a yogurt. But cheese can be produced using lactococcus. These are the bacteria, lactococcus or lactobacillus or streptococcus genera. This type of bacteria are used to produce cheese. Okay, for the yogurt, lactobacillus, various strains of lactobacillus we can use to produce yogurt. And for the curd, lactobacillus is popularly used to produce the curd. So these are the popular dairy products. Various among them, there are many dairy products are there. So out of these are very popular in our household. Then bread baking bacteria. Okay, bread is also prepared through some yeast and fungi activities. Okay, we all know, we all studied during our 10th class that how to bake a bread, or what type of bacteria is used for the fermentation process. So fermentation process is the process which is used to produce bread, as well as alcoholic drink or organic acids or enzyme. Every microorganism application is dependent on the on this one only, fermentation process. So during the fermentation of bread, the yeast and bacteria or fungi is very much useful. The species which are Saccharomyces species, we used to study about them. Saccharomyces species are popularly used in bread baking. Then alcoholic drinks like ethanol can be produced using Saccharomyces as a source. As a source, and as a bacteria source is Xynomonas mobilis. Xynomonas, we used to study that one. Xynomonas is the bacteria which is used to produce ethanol along with the yeast. Saccharomyces. Saccharomyces like yeast can also be used to synthesize the used to manufacture alcoholic drink like ethanol. Then organic acid. There are many types of organic acid like the succinic acid, acetic acid, citric acid, glucanic acid. These acids are there. These are known as organic acids. So these organic acids can only be manufactured using some of the bacteria. Like acetic acid can only be manufactured using the acetobacter bacteria, or uh, glycanobacter bacteria. These are the bacteria which are used to manufacture acetic acid. Like citric acid, Aspergillus niger is used to manufacture this citric acid. Then glucanic acid can be manufactured using filamentous fungi, the fungi-like compound which is called a filamentous. The filament-like structure will be there. The filamentous fungi is used to manufacture glucanic acid. Then lactic acid from the milk can be manufactured using lactobacillus strains we can use to manufacture lactic acid. Then succinic acid can also be synthesized. Popularly, Escherichia coli, which is known as the E. coli bacteria, is used to synthesize lactic acid. Synthesize this one, succinic acid. So lactic acid is synthesized using lactobacillus. So whereas succinic acid can be synthesized using popularly E. coli bacteria. There are many other types of bacteria can also be used to synthesize, but popularly E. coli, which is known as Escherichia coli bacteria, is used to synthesize bacteria. Then various other enzymes can also be used to synthesize microorganisms, can also be used to synthesize the enzymes, various enzymes which are helpful for the humankind. Like bacteria, Pseudomonas bacteria, Bacillus bacteria, like lactobacillus and everything. These are separated from their culturing, in their culturing, and then they are cultured. They are used in synthesizing enzymes, many other enzymes, Clostridium. These are the bacteria which are used. Then steroids. Okay, steroids, they are popularly used for many types of application. Like sports person popularly would take for the muscle building and everything. Steroids will be very useful. How can we synthesize? How can we manufacture the steroids? Using the Maxobacteria or Stigmatella aurantica. This type of bacteria are used to synthesize some of the steroids. Okay, so those steroids can be used to synthesize. Those bacteria can be used to synthesize various types of steroids, which can be used for many types of application, ranging from the sports or any gymnasium and everything. The next one is used as a sewage treatment. Okay, there are three types of sewage treatment: primary, secondary, and tertiary treatments are there. Among them, tertiary and secondary treatments are largely involve the chemical or biological treatments. Among these biological treatment, activated sludge process will be there. In the activated sludge process, various aerobic bacteria, anaerobic bacteria, and facultative bacteria. These are the bacteria, there are different types of bacteria which use it to degrade, which use it to which bacteria consumes the sewage. Whatever the organic matter will be there, that will be consumed by that bacteria, and they used to release carbon dioxide, oxygen, etc. by consuming them. So sewage treatment plant, especially in the activated sludge treatment plant, the bacteria used or the aerobic, anaerobic bacteria, facultative bacteria can be used. Then there are many applications in the insecticide industry as a fungicide, bioherbicide, bioinsecticide, biopesticide, biofungicide. Everything these microorganisms can also find applications in them, like uh, uh, trichoderma. Trichoderma is a biopesticide, and Platophora, which is a bioherbicide, we can classify. We can say it is a Platophora is a bioherbicide. Then bioinsecticides like Bacillus, Bacillus B, Bacillus spp, etc. This can be used to used in the insecticide industry as a bioinsecticide. And biopesticides, bioherbicides, there are many types of strains are there among the bacteria which can directly be used as a insecticides to kill particular type of organisms which are spoiling the particular fertility of the soil, or particular plant they are spoiling. So this type of bacteria can be used in the as a source of insecticides or herbicide, biopesticide, everything. Then fertility, in order to increase the fertility of a soil, the farmer-friendly strains like Bacillus spp, Enterobacter spp, and Pseudomonas spp, fungi such as Penicillium spp. These are the fungi and bacteria which are very farmer-friendly. They are directly applied to the soil in order to kill various harmful bacteria inside the soil. So these microorganisms can also find a application in the fertility also. Then apart from this fertility, then production of vitamins, like popular vitamin B12 can be synthesized using a bacteria called thiamine. Okay, thiamine can be used to synthesize vitamin B12, like various other vitamin A, B, C, every vitamin can be synthesized using certain type of bacteria. So these are the applications. Then these microorganisms can also be used in synthesis of antibiotics and antivirals. Like many types of antivirals or antibiotics can be used in order to synthesize rubber during the cold catching process, or during the winter seasons we used to catch a cold. So we used to take antibiotics or antivirals. So that antibiotics, how they can synthesize using some raw materials, using by giving an input of certain types of bacteria into it only. They used to synthesize that antibiotics or antibiotics like Bacillus subtilis or Bacillus polymaxa. This type of bacteria which are popularly used to synthesize the antibiotics or antivirals. Then biotechnological research applications, R&D activities are popularly going on in the biotechnological sector in order to study various harmful bacteria as well as various useful bacteria which can be used to stop the diseases in both as plants as well as animals. So popularly many research are going on by the stated various types of bacteria, and in order to modify their genetic modification is also possible. These bacteria, how we can convert the genetic modification of those bacteria. The particular many research around many research institutes are going on. So Department of Biotechnology is there. Which is a government of India organization, which is responsible to look after all the research activities, all the production activities um, in this microbiology sector. So there may be many information on the DBT, Department of Biotechnology. As for the Science and Technology, Department of Science and Technology, DST is there. Like for the biotechnological research also, Department of Biotechnology is there. So DBT is popularly called. They also used to fund many types of research projects which comes under the microbiology. Next topic in this one is general characteristics and biotechnological applications of various microorganisms. Like as per your syllabus, only these 5 microorganisms are there: protozoa, algae, fungi, bacteria, and viruses. Okay, this type of bacteria, what their characteristics, how they will behave. So whether they are pathogenics or whether they are good for the health, whether they are disease causing pathogenics, whether they are disease preventing pathogenics, we have to study them. Okay, a lot of research has been going on in studying these various types of microorganisms. But there are many general characteristics. Generally, a protozoa means protozoa. It will have some general characteristics. But inside this protozoa, there are many million types of different protozoa strains will be there. That protozoa, different strains will be used for different purposes. Whether their characteristics will be much different compared to these general characteristics. But generally, for the protozoa, there will be some characteristics. Generally, for the algae, generally for the fungi or bacteria, there will be some general characteristics. These are only the general characteristics, not a specific characteristics. Then first one among those is a protozoa. As you can see from these pictures, these are the pictures for the protozoa. So protozoas are nothing but a single cell eukaryotes. So these organisms comes under the eukaryotic organisms. So their cell sizes may be very large compared to the prokaryotes, whose cells have a nucleus that commonly shows characteristics associated with animals. So they are eukaryotes. For the eukaryotes, the examples of the animals, plants, and etc. They are bigger in size as well as they possess a nucleus inside it. So if you contain these membranes, there may be a nucleus inside it, mitochondria inside it, some organella inside it. So these comes under the category of eukaryotes. Okay, the branch of study is called a protozoa. So protozoa and protozoan, we can say in particular. The bacteria, the strain is in particular, we can say the protozoan, we can say. Then the general characteristics are nothing. General characteristics of protozoa, as traditionally can be defined in the range of 1 micrometer to as more as several millimeters. From the micrometer region to the millimeter region, it can range. Then they are the independent eukaryotes with a cell in a completely MLL organ. So they are completely organic, the cells in a MLA form, and they are independent eukaryotes. They cannot depend on the other organisms, but they are independent organisms. They are free-living protozoans are common and often abundant in fresh, brackish, and salt water. They can found in abundance in the fresh water, brackish water, or the salt water, as well as in the soil, marine soil, and marine entities, and at the same time sewage treatment systems. Like I already said, you the activated sludge process, or in a secondary or a tertiary treatment process of the water, we can find this type of protozoans. And in the flower petals, some of the rose petals and everything, this type of protozoans can also be popularly encountered. Some species live in extreme environments, like hot spring environments. They used to live. Then their nutrition is principally a heterotrophic, not a autotrophic. Not a autotrophic. They are heterotrophs. Then example of the species are like this: Plasmodium falciparum, Masseteria oreaceae, and Bodostaltans. This type of species, you have to name one or two. These are popularly asked in your 2 marks questions. Okay, the general characteristics we can remember of these can range in the millimeter range to the micrometer range to the millimeter range, and they are independent eukaryote. They can't depend on other type of organisms. They are popularly can be found in the brackish water, salt water, soil, marine entities or flowers, everything. So this you need to remember. Then application: where do these protozoans can find application? The applications of this protozoan are in the activated sludge treatment process and soap percolation process. So in the tertiary and secondary treatment processes of water treatment, these can find applications. So they are heterotrophs, not autotrophs. Then algae are the common electrophil bearing. So electrophil will be there inside it. They will look like a plants. So electrophilic autotrophic. So algae are nothing but a chlorophyll bearing autotrophic thalloid plants body. Seaweed is the common name of the marine algae. So marine algae, you can see that some chlorophyll will be there inside. They will always look like some plants only. but they are usually microorganisms. There are four distinct groups of the microorganisms. The first one among is a brown algae. Brown algae is popularly known with a chemical name as a biological name as a Pheopatra. Then green algae, which is with a biological name as a Chloropatra. Then red algae with a biological name as a Rhodopatra. Then this bacteria is known as a cyanobacteria, or we can say it is available aquarium bacteria. We can say it is popularly available in our aquariums or ponds. We can say. Then these are the four distinct groups of the algae. Then out of this, what are the general characteristics involved? Almost all the bacteria are the aquatic. They can find in the aquatic regions only, like in a water regions only. The plant body may be unicellular to large, robust multicellular structure. Okay, maybe they are unicellular or maybe they can be a multicellular structure. We can say in an indirect way we can say they may be a eukaryotes or they may be a prokaryotes. Okay, based on that there is no classification. Only general characteristics may lie as a unicellular or a multicellular options. Then the sex organs are generally unicellular, but when multicellular or all sensor fertilizers, and in most cases the entire structure does not have any protection jacket. So whenever their sex organs are occupied in a multicellular type, then they do not have any protection jacket. Whenever they are unicellular only, some protection layer or protection jacket will be around them. So these are the general characteristics. Then zygote undergoes further development either by mitosis or meiosis, but not through embryo formation. So this embryo formation is popularly encountered in the eukaryotic types. So zygote will undergo a further development by this meiosis or mitosis. So only they cannot form a embryos. So that may be encountered in the eukaryotes. So the mechanism of their reproduction is nothing but prokaryotic reproduction. So then plants have distinct alteration of generations. Okay, plants do possess the alteration in their respective generation. Both gametophyte and saurophyte generations, when present in the life cycle, are independent. Okay, they are independent in their life cycles for the generation itself. So they are already independent microorganisms. So where this type of algae finds many applications. Where they find application, like first one among them is agar. Okay, agar, we can say agar. It is a gelatinous substance. Okay, which is a gelatinous substance which is derived from the red algae. Red algae, you can see this one. From this, the agar can be synthesized. So agar is nothing but a gelatinous substance derived from a red algae. Has a commercial uses. There are many commercial uses for this agar. It is a good medium. This agar is a good medium on which to grow a bacteria and fungi, as most microorganisms can digest agar. Agar may be a nutrition source for the many microorganisms or bacteria. For example, when we want to produce a bread, when we want to produce a ethanol, when we want to produce some organic acids, so where do we obtain those bacteria? Okay, those bacteria should be live in some region. Okay, those bacteria needs to be isolated. Isolated is nothing but they needs to be separated from among the colony of bacteria. That particular bacteria needs to be brought to in some culturing mechanism. Then we need to give some nutrition to it. So agar is popularly used as a nutrition on which the particular type of bacteria or a fungi will feed. Then that feeded agar will be a nutrition for that bacteria. Then that bacteria will multiply. That bacteria will grow. That fungi will grow. Then that fungi or bacteria we will just extract from that one, and we will put them into our use, like bread manufacturing or like a ethanol manufacturing, like that. So bacteria, this agar is a good medium for the nutrition, or a good medium on which the bacteria or a fungi will grow. So these are good for the microorganisms. Then alliginates, like alliginic acid, you may remember alliginic acid or alliginate is extracted from the brown algae. So brown algae is popularly used to extract the alliginate, or can be called as a alliginic acid. It uses range from the gelling agent in food. Okay, it can be used as a gelling agent in food or medicine dressing. Okay, whatever the coatings we can observe on the medicines, largely maybe the alginate or alginic acid. In the field of biotechnology, it can be used as a biocompatible medium for cell encapsulation. Okay, various cells will be there to encapsulate them, to isolate them. This can be used. This alginate can be used for cell immobilization. Okay, for cell isolation can also be, this alginate can also be used. So then next one is the energy source. Okay, these algae can also be used as an energy source. Popularly, we used to consume what we call this fungi. Popular fungi, what we call this one, mushrooms. Okay, yeah, mushrooms is the popular energy source for our human to consume them. So that is nothing but a algae. So they can be used as a energy for the nutrition purpose, and as well as energy purposes also. Like algal biofuels are there, they can be used as the for the energy purpose. Then fertility. The fertility is in the aquaculture growing, and in various microorganism species are just cultured in the ponds, or in a tanks, or in a slow percolation filters and everything. These particular microorganisms will be growing there. So that grown microorganisms can be harvested or used to treat effluents, or we can just uh, feed them to the we can just what we can just drop them into the wastewater. Then they will consume whatever the organic matter will be there, they will consume. So they will clean the ponds. Okay, as well as whenever we want some biofuels or something, we can culture that one. That is nothing but alga culture. So algae will be cultured back, and this cultured algae will be used for the biofuel synthesis or for the nutrition purpose. Nowadays many people are uh, farming this one, these mushrooms. So mushrooms are the popularly known as this algae only. So this algae nowadays many people are just doing this as a business. Okay, then this algae, they provide many vitamins, including A1, B1, A1, A vitamin, A1, B2, B6, niacin, and C vitamins. And this algae is a popularly a rich source of iodine, potassium, iron, magnesium, and calcium. So, due to this nutrition value, these nutrition values can be found out in our mushrooms. So, mushrooms people used to consume a lot. Okay, now it is a popular business. Then next one is the pollution control. So we have already I already told you that in the sewage treatment plant, in the secondary and tertiary treatment plants, algae can also be used. Along with the bacteria, algae can also be used. They can act as a natural bacteria in order to clean up that particular pond. Then polymer manufacturing, in order to synthesize the bioplastics. Okay, so bioplastics, various bacteria can also be used, on which some raw materials they will consume, and a plastic like gelation they will give. Then bioremediation, various algal stains like a Bacillus stricococcus can be used in order to synthesize the silicone resins. Okay, silicone resins can also be synthesized using this streptococcus like bacteria. So they can be used in the bioremediation also. Then pigmentation, they can also be used as a natural pigmentation. So naturally, this algae can contain a carotenoid and chlorophyll into it. So this carotenoid and chlorophylls are popularly known as a natural pigments. So we need not to go for the external chemically prepared coloring agents like dyes and etc. So we can use this as a natural pigmentation, though with certain limitations. Then the algae can also be used as stabilizing substances. So stabilizing substances in the milk products we can use. For example, the red algae, the one type of red algae which is known as red algae, Trondas cryptus, crispus, is used as a stabilizer in the milk products. In order to stabilize that milk product, we can use this red algae stain. Then the next one is the fungi source. Then fungi. Okay, fungi are nothing but eukaryotic organisms. Okay, compared to various protozoans and everything, they will be in a larger size. Okay, then fungi exist in a, you can see this is this one. So fungi exist in two different fundamental forms: filamentous form or hypal form, or in a mold form. This is a mold form, or this is a filamentous form, or a single cell budding form. or a yeast. Okay, this type of fundamental forms can also be exist filamentaceous or hypal form. This is this form, or in a budding form, or in a mold form. Okay, these are the types of fungi form. Then the classification of molds fungi includes molds, yeast like fungi, and dermorphic fungi. Okay, these classifications are there in the among the fungi. Then yeast are unicellular, while mold is multicellular. So yeast, we have described earlier, the yeast is a unicellular, so they may be eukaryotes or prokaryotes. Thus these fungi are nothing but a eukaryotes with a multicellular organic structure into it, such a filamentaceous or in a hypal form or in a mold form also. Then fungi grow best in the acidic environment. Okay, they cannot tolerate the basic environment. They are usually best to grow in the acidic environment. Then fungi can tolerate high sugar concentration and dry conditions. Okay, they can also be what we say cultivated in the dry conditions or high sugar concentrations also. They can also be grow. Then the growth rate of fungi is slow than that of a bacteria. Usually bacteria grow very faster compared to any type of fungus or yeast also you can consider. So bacteria, compared to bacteria, the growth will be very slow in the fungi. Then these are general characteristics. Then applications. Then what are the applications in many industrial fermentation processes? This yeah. In many industrial fermentation processes, such as production of enzymes, vitamins, pigments, lipids, glycolipids, polysaccharides, and polyhydric alcohols. Okay, as we generally describe the applications, like used in the enzyme synthesis, steroid synthesis, vitamin manufacturing, pigment manufacturing, or in some enzyme synthesis. Okay, the same bacteria, bacillus or streptococcus. Okay, this type of bacteria, this type of enzymes comes under the category of fungi. They can be used for many industrial fermentation processes. Then edible sources. So fungi as a edible sources, mushrooms can also be edible sources. So they are rich in the proteins, as well as they are very low calorific value. So people they can consume a lot, but okay, consume a lot, but they are rich in the protein source. They are lack of the carbohydrate source. People used to consume a lot that one. Then they are single cell protein. So yeast such as Aspergillus niger. Okay, this is the popular bacteria in synthesizing vitamin, or in synthesizing organic acid. So this type of bacteria are comes under the category of fungi. Then biofertilizer, bioherbicide. These fungi can also be used as a biofertilizer and biofungicide. Then cellulose degradation by fungi is also possible. So when you take some branch of the plant, the outer layer is called a lignin. The inside layer, which is a creamy layer or a creamy structure, is called a cellulose. Whatever the lignin is there can also be biodegraded. Cellulose will be biodegraded, whereas that lignin will be there, it will be converted to some other type of chemicals. So bioconversion of lignin also, this type of fungi can be used, and biodegradation of cellulose compound, this type of fungi can also be used. Then biodegradation of pesticides, toxic chemicals. So whatever the chemicals we are using, pesticides or the chemicals we are using in our um, farming or agricultural purpose, the pesticides will result in a runoff, surface runoff. The surface runoff water will contains many types of pesticides or many types of toxic chemicals. So when we just add some fungi into it, that will biodegrade it, that will eat that particular type of chemicals. So that is the popular application for the fungi. Then the next one is the bacteria. So bacteria are the single-celled organisms. Okay, they are usually a single cell, not a multicellular. Then the general characteristics exist as they lack of organella, such as chloroplast, mitochondria. So this is the characteristics of prokaryotes. Okay, this is not a characteristics of eukaryotes. So bacteria are classified as a prokaryotes. So from their size also we can say bacteria are not at all visible. We have to see them in microscopic stage. So they lack organella as well as chloroplasta or mitochondria, and they do not have a true nucleus found in the eukaryotic cells. So they are not eukaryotes, they are prokaryotes. So instead their DNA, a double strand that is continuous and circular, is located in a nucleoid. So nucleoid will be there, their DNA will be located inside that circular structure. The nucleoid is an irregular shaped region that does not have a nuclear membrane. The nuclear membrane will not have the nucleoid. There may be a different types of shape. Okay, there is no standard shape for that one. So bacteria also have a cell membrane and a cell wall. Is referred to as a cell envelope. Whatever the membrane is there, every structure will be present inside the cell membrane. So the cell membrane is called as a cell envelope. Many bacteria need a cell wall in order to survive. The cell walls they need to survive. In order to survive them, they need that cell wall or cell envelope they need. Then the reproduction occur through a binary fusion. The binary fusion is nothing but two different types of bacteria. They have to undergo a reproduction process. So the binary fusion is possible in the bacteria, which is the splitting of a bacterial cells after it reaches a certain size. Certain sizes they will just split after reaching certain size. They will just split to just reproduce them. And the bacteria reproduce asexual organisms. So the two daughter cells that results from the binary fusion has the same DNA as a parent cell. So asexual organisms and bisexual organisms we have studied in our biology in the 10th class. So asexual organisms, whenever two daughter cells are combined and resulting child will be there, they will obtain a DNA from the parent cell only. Okay, so this is the popular characteristics for the bacteria. Then application. Okay, there are many harmful and as well as useful bacteria are also there. The harmful bacteria for the food spoilage and E. coli, this type of bacteria will just spoil the food. We need to pasteurize them. Milk, in the milk, if the E. coli is present, then it will be harmful. Then in the egg also, some in the egg, whatever the egg outside layer is there, that outside layer, a thin white layer will be there. In the thin white layer, this E. coli bacteria will be occupied. Whenever we consume that E. coli bacteria, it will result in the disease. It is a disease causing agent. Since that is a disease causing agent, we will acquire uh, some virus inside our body. So bacteria, though E. coli is bacteria, it is popularly used to synthesize many types of food products, but uncontrolled E. coli consumption is very much harmful for the human being. So the useful bacteria is a lactobacillus. I already said you lactobacillus is popularly used to synthesize organic liquid like lactic acid. Then E. coli is used to synthesize succinic acid, which is also a organic acid. Then Clostridium. Clostridium is whatever the Clostridium bacteria is there, that is used to synthesize the bioherbicide or as can be used as a bioherbicide or germicide. Then in the so next one is the Bacillus thuringiensis. So all these are the useful bacteria. These useful bacteria finds many applications in many types of industries. Like first one among them is the food industry, then biotechnology industry, and genetic engineering industry. In order to modify the genetics also, the bacteria are also useful. Nowadays, the popular topic in the Florida of USA is in order to genetically they are modifying the mosquitoes. Okay, whenever the mosquitoes are genetically modified, they will be mm, they will be left in a open environment. So that it will have some genetic connection with the normal mosquitoes. Then the entire mosquito generation will be stopped. That is nothing but a genocide, we can say, mosquito genocide. So Florida nowadays, 2 days back it came in the news. So you can just search in the Google. They are just releasing the genetically modified mosquitoes into the environment so that they can have some combination with the existing natural mosquitoes. Then their entire generation of the mosquitoes will be just killed down in order to stop various diseases from the mosquitoes, like dengue, etc., malaria. These are all the diseases which comes from the mosquitoes. In order to stop them, the genetically modified mosquitoes are used to kill the various other types of mosquitoes. So it is a popular genetic engineering. You can just Google through it and search what is involved in that one. Then the popular various microorganisms can also be found in our gut. Okay, they are used to digest our food. Then in the pest control, I already said you bio insecticides as a biopesticide or bioherbicide and everything. The in the pest control also the bacteria is very much helpful. Then the harmful bacteria like pathogens, Bacillus perfringens, Bacillus cereus, these are the harmful bacteria. These will cause a disease. Okay, this will just spoil the food. Okay, E. coli can also come here, but compared to the harmful effects, the E. coli will find many useful characteristics for the human being. So uncontrolled E. coli is very harmful, but controlled E. coli usage is very much beneficial for the synthesis of various organic products. Like the example is succinic acid. Then the next one is the virus. So virus are the non-cellular organisms. Okay, nowadays this is very popular. Like the HIV virus, like coronavirus and everything. So viruses are non-cellular organisms. They does not possess any cell. Okay, they will not have any multicellular or unicellular. Okay, they does not comes under any category. Okay, they are viruses or non-cellular organisms which made up of a genetic material and protein that invade living organisms. Okay, protein is the main composition of the virus. Okay, whatever the virus is there, the harmful protein will be there. Yeah, whatever the protein will find out, that will be very harmful. That protein will grow. That protein will just multiply. So that protein, that harmful proteins will be processed by the virus. So how the general catch, the examples of these viruses are coronavirus, the recent one, then the HIV virus, human immunovirus, that hepatitis B, Ebola virus, adenovirus, influenza, bacteriophage, and everything. This comes under the virus category. How they behave, how their general characteristics will like. So the general characteristics, popular general characteristics is like this one. Spikes will be possessed by the virus. The characteristics of the every virus is the same. See here, the spike structure will be there. Every virus will contain certain spike structure. They are enclosed in a protective envelope. Whatever the protective envelope, that envelope will protect that protein structure, and outside it some spikes will be there which helps them to attach to the host cell. Whatever the cells is there, whatever our vital organs is there, so these spikes will be helpful in order to attach to that organ, particular type of organ which they are targeting to destroy. So this is the characteristics. Then they are non-cellular. There is no cell inside it. They do not respire. They don't want any oxygen source. Okay, they do not metabolize. Okay, they do not eat anything. They do not grow, but they do reproduce. So they can't grow, but they reproduce themselves. So they will multiply themselves. Okay, they contain a protein code called a capsid. So protein, whatever harmful protein will be there, they contain a protein which is called a capsid. Outside that protein, there's some protective layer will be there, the protective envelope will be there, and outside that protective envelope, some spikes will be there. These spikes will help them to attach the particular cells which they are going to destroy. Then they have a nucleic acid core containing DNA or RNA. So whether they are ribonucleic acid or diribonucleic acid, they can be a DNA, they can be a RNA. So we can say the virus like coronavirus, which is a RNA type of RNA type of virus. So then compared to RNA type of virus, DNA type of virus are very less harmful compared to this RNA. So RNA they will immediately invade. Okay, they will immediately invade the particular type of cells compared to the DNA. Then examples are like cold, influenza, chicken pox, cold sores, corona, and everything will comes under the virus category. So these are the general characteristics. Then in the next class, if you have any doubts, you can ask. Then in the next class, We will try to conclude this one, part B, not conclude. Okay, among this part B, there are three categories. In the first line, if you see general methods of isolation and purification of microorganisms. So I already said you, when there are many types of microorganisms, n number of type of microorganisms. If you want E. coli among them, how can we extract that E. coli? So among many bacteria are there, like Bacillus is there, E. coli is there, Pseudomonas bacteria is there. Every bacteria is there. For example, these three types of bacteria is there, but we want only E. coli. E. coli means we have to extract separately that one. That is nothing but a isolation. So we need to isolate that particular wanted bacteria and then purify them. So purification and isolation comes under the same category, that among the various microorganisms we need to drag the our useful microorganisms outside. That is called isolation and purification. Then various types of anaerobic aerobic cultivation of microorganisms. Then cultivation will comes under the category of after isolation and purification. Whatever the E. coli we obtain, that E. coli needs to be multiplied. That E. coli needs to be grow, so that we can use for large scale production. So this is nothing but a production. So cultivation, their multiplication, that particular type of microorganism needs to be multiplied. For multiplication, what type of nutrition we have to give, we have to study in this region. Okay, in the first region, in the first stage, we have to study what is isolation, how can we extract our interested organisms outside the many organisms. In the second stage, we have to cultivate them, we have to multiply them. How we have to supply some nutrition, we have to supply some source of energy to them in order to multiply that. Then after that, we have to study their growth, how the microorganisms growth is there, how they are incubated, how they are acting, different stages, various 4 to 5 stages will be there in the microorganisms growth until the birth stage to the death stage. We have to study the growth curve. We have to study how the particular type of microorganisms is behaving. Then next one is the fermentation. Oh, various types of fermentations are there. So we have to discuss that various types of fermentation and production of industrial alcohol. Popularly, ethanol is produced industrially very much. So how yeah, okay. Yeah, microorganisms as a single source protein, we have to study what different sources can we can obtain from them. And then biogas production. Okay, this fermentation process in the industrial alcohol, one flow sheet is there, and in the biogas production, one flow sheet is there. Okay, two flow sheets are there. Among that, all the remaining other is a theory, and here one curve is involved. So I will just show, take through this one. So this is the isolation and purification. We have to sample them, we have to isolate them, we have to identify them, what type of bacteria that is, and we have to cultivate them, we have to give some nutrition to them. On consuming some the nutrition, they will grow inside that. That is a cultivation. Then we have to identify, the various methods are there to identify what type of bacteria that one. Then various isolation, okay, that isolation in manufacturing to the microscope we have to see. Then exposure, different types of isolation mechanisms are there, the streaking mechanism, some videos I will show regarding that one. Then isolation by using some animals, we can say. The growth curve, the different stages, you can see lag phase, exponential phase, stationary phase, or death phase. These 4 types of phases are there, we have to see that. Fermentation, various types of fermentation, batch, continuous, dual fermentation, everything. Then alcohol production, like ethanol, we have to see. This is the flow sheet. Then biogas production. In the biogas production, one flow sheet will be there. So we have to see that. Completed part 1, part A. If you have any doubt until a part A, so you can just ask me. And in the next class, tomorrow's class, we will try to cover this part B. Okay, Isaac. Anybody is there? Pavani, Isaac, Ravi.
Sir.
Yeah, Isaac, I just uploaded that one. You asked in the mass transfer operations.
Sir.
That OneNote. The PDF file of OneNote, I just uploaded that one.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, if you go in the mass transfer one, so I don't have a mobile phone, so I can't send through WhatsApp.
Okay, sir.
In 1 or 2 days it will come, then I will send. Otherwise, you can send to your friends. So in the unit one, so I have just uploaded. Yeah, this one unit one complete OneNote PDF. This I have uploaded. You can see that one.
సార్ అంటే కొన్ని అంటే OneNoteలో ప్రాబ్లం ఏంటంటే ఒకసారి మనం ప్రింట్ తీస్తే ఒరిజినల్ కాపీ ఒకటి వస్తుంది, మీ స్కెచ్ కూడా వస్తుందా సార్? అంటే మీరు రాసేది కూడా వస్తుందా దాంట్లో?
మొత్తం వస్తుంది చూసాను క్లియర్గా కూడా.
ఓకే సార్. ఓకే సార్.
విల్ సీ దిస్ వన్, లెట్స్ సీ హియర్. ఇఫ్ యూ సీ దిస్ వన్, ఇది బాగానే కనిపిస్తుంది పీడిఎఫ్లో.
అదే సార్ కొంచెం జూమ్ చేసుకోవాలంతే సార్.
జూమ్ చేసుకోవాలంతే. It is clear. You see, this is clear. You need not to take printout. Don't waste paper and don't waste your money. You need not to take printout. Okay, I have uploaded this one. Okay, anything else you require?
No sir.
Okay.
Thank you sir.
Yeah. Okay, what about unit 3? How do you like this one? The explanation or something? If you want anything extra, can somebody please give a feedback? If you want anything more explanation, or if you want anything videos or something, we can also add. In the part B there are many videos, I will show that one. But in part B I can't find any videos because there are general characteristics only, not a specific one. So can somebody give some feedback regarding this one?
Good, sir.
What? I can't understand. Pavani?
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir.
You want
That-
anything? Disturbance is there. Yes, Pavani.
Sir, it's good, sir. No need of any more.
Okay, yeah, just please ask to other members also. Since you are a CR, so you can ask them. CR, Ravi, ACR, you are CR, I guess. Pavani only. So, okay, you can ask somebody else who are not at all understanding this chapter. Okay, I hope you understood. Thank you. Thank you one and all for listening. Download